That was quite an amazing conversation we just had, and quite a controversial one, because after the conversation we had a lot of people, even right here in the studio, still having to talk about one or two things concerning that. But we have to shift away from that a little, because it's Friday, and Fridays are days where we just tone it down a bit and prepare you for the weekend. So right here in the studio we have a comedian. Now comedy, they say, is it's something that brings joy, happiness, laughter. Laughter in itself is the best medicine. And trust me, when you laugh, you tend to release all of the stress and pressure from the day and from the country you live in currently. So right here we have Dr. Frick, who is a seasoned professional comedian, and it's going to be discussing with or having a chat with Dr. Frick this morning. Dr. Frick, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Frick?
Very well.
You look amazing, I must say.
Thank you so much.
We had a conversation before you came in, so I just want you to chip in 1-2 minutes, if you don't mind.
Of course.
You listen to it.
I really wanted to be a part of that conversation, actually, because the truth is, so relationships are not competitions. A spec and more, a spec and more. Everybody's a spec. The truth is, as a spec, do you have the sense, the wisdom to recognize in the other person that they know what you carry? That is what spurs them on to say, I want to be a part of this person's life. But if they don't have that sense to say, this is me, this is this person, and I recognize what I need for the rest of my journey in life in this person, we'll just be rolling around and having fun. That's it.
Yeah, I like your conclusion in that. Thank you so much, Dr. Speck. Now,
let's talk about, the name, Dr. Frick.
Frick, rather.
Yeah,
I
Frick.
said Speck. Yes, a Speck.
Because
Is a spec. Is someone spec?
Oh, Dr. Frick.
Okay, so Dr. Frick, where did that stage name come from? Because I know you are Fred Otete, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
how did that come from?
I just kind of squeezed my full name, Frederick.
Oh,
Into
So I don't give people too much stress,
Fred.
Dr. Frick. but you are not freaky, you know?
Well, it depends on the context.
Well, are you a doctor or just a laughter doctor?
So right now, there's nothing like laughter doctor, because we are even the doctors left.
Oh, really?
Yes, the medical doctors have jackpot.
Oh, so we
So we have to do with myself, small doctor, Dr. Frick, Dr. Smile, and lab doctor.
Oh my goodness. All right, now it's so obvious you are a comedian. It's very obvious you're a comedian, because I'm already cracked up. So now talk to us about comedy and how it started for me. Now, a lot of people say comedy is innate, because I don't know if it's something you can go to the school to learn. It's just something that you grew up with, is innate. So how did you realize this is your niche and building on it?
All right. So first of all, yeah, comedy is innate. It's a gift, like every other gift, like soccer, like oratory, like a lot of gifts. Comedy is one of them. However, it's being taught in schools outside Nigeria. People learn and they fail. Some pass, because I think one thing about comedy is you must have a bit of it in you. It must be natural first. You can build on it, expand, then learn some other stuff, but you must have a bit of it. So for me, I think I've been cracking my mom up from the womb. That's what I'll say. Because from inception, for as far as I can remember in my life, from back then when I didn't have the knowledge of stand-up, but I just knew that any role in church, drama, God a boy, he would do it well. So I'm always getting the lead role, Abraham, Samson, and it was always fun, being the center of attention, being the one that calls the shot when it comes to the script and everything, until they gave me the role of Jesus. Now, funny thing is, each time they give me the lead role like that, when I was Abraham, they gave a particular young boy Isaac. So I had to want to slaughter him.
Okay.
And I made it painful. I tied his hands really hard behind him, pushed him, and Then same boy, when I was given the role of Samson, same boy now was among the soldiers. So it was one of the people I hit when they were trying to capture me first. Then they gave me Jesus, and they gave this boy the soldier that was going to nail me.
It is a comedy, or a real laugh at
I'm
me.
serious.
But it feels like comedy because I'm already laughing.
I'm very serious.
Okay.
It still pains me to This boy whispered to me during rehearsal. Bros,
What, bro?
We are here.
let's just do rehearsal. Wait for the main day. And on the main day, Easter period, the whole church was full. This guy made it look like a mistake. He was supposed to hit the nail. He hit my finger.
Oh.
I shouted, Jesus. Then he whispered, Ross, now you be Jesus.
Wait, is this a joke or it's a real life story?
This young man right now is married
It feels like a
with
joke.
kids. I'm serious. Very serious. Funny thing, his real name is Isaac.
Oh.
Yeah, but my real name wasn't Abraham from time.
Yeah.
So we were just always together in the church drama
Church drama, no.
with a few years a difference, but
Wow.
his revenge was sweeter.
It was epic. Now you mentioned that some comedies are taught in schools, some other
Yeah.
places, and some failed and some passed. Now,
Yeah.
would you like to give us some reasons, or you think people fail at comedy? Because I believe the comedy is innate. It's more like it's not something. Maybe you could just have to brush your skills, one or two things, but having to learn how to make people laugh. I don't know how possible that would be. So why do you think people fail at that?
Okay, so let me make this analogy. Let's look at medicine as a field. That you can't say that's a gift that you just need to brush it up. But there is something you need to have to want to be a medical doctor. You must have compassion.
Of course.
And you cannot afford to be irritated by the sight of blood or something, and you want to be a medical doctor, or you even want to be a surgeon at that, you know. So most of the time, in comedy now, you must have sense of humor. If you have sense of humor, then you can align it with whatever you are learning, because comedy is diverse, has different genres. We have the observational comedy, we have the satire, we have stand-up, we have skit making, we have all sorts. So whatever you're focusing on, that sense of humor is what drives it. So for those who don't have it, and with that sense of humor, passion will be far-fetched. And whatever you're not passionate about, you're bound to fail.
Fail.
So that's why
Interesting.
people are just doing it like, I want to do something different. They are not definite about it. Oh, I can learn comedy in this school. Okay, let me try. And I mean, when you hear the likes of Kevin Hart and their net worth, Jerry Seinfeld, you're like, from cracking joke, you are encouraged. But then when you get to the nitty-gritty, you see that it's not a joke.
Joke. Okay.
That's why they call it humor. It can humiliate you if you are not good at it.
Wow.
Okay. You said earlier that you had, several acting experiences in church. Did you develop that onwards? Do you act as well by the side?
Yes, I do. I feature in skits and a number of movies, and but I major in stand-up and events.
Events, okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about stand-up comedy. I mean, we're still talking about you and how you got into stand-up comedy. From the time you realized, you could crack jokes in church through those, dramatic, displays and performances, when did you know that, okay, comedy is the profession for you?
All right, so I think it was away from church. In school then, boarding house, there's always this, you have to bail yourself out, either with your fist or with your mouth.
Oh.
Yeah, so back then, I mean, it was a jungle. So if you don't have fist, you better have a sharp tongue. And when you have a sharp tongue, you must also have wisdom to deploy it wisely.
So that
because
you don't
those
get
who have fist will fist on you after you have used your tongue to, So I happen to always have the big guys on my side. So I yab the lesser ones, get the attention of the big boys. Then the bigger boy will employ me to yab another big boy, knowing that if push comes to shove, I will still have his own backup. For protection. So I was getting famous for yabbing people. I could just come up with sometimes when I think back, I'm like, was my brain really working at this point in time? How were people actually, and people will gather. They want to watch how I'm going to deal with this person. And I'm like, all of us were not having sense that period. So from there, by virtue of upbringing, I was born in a very strict home. So you must be able to give purpose to whatever you are doing. If not, my mom will tell you are wasting. And you don't want to waste. So I said, okay, there must be a better way to deploy this thing. Because it was fetching me more enemies than friends. This one is so yabbing. Some people will be waiting for me. Once we vacate, they'll stay by the gate. Shebi will pass. and God help you, your parents are not coming to pick you, you're going home by yourself. So I started thinking, because from day one, I've just valued relationships, and I saw that I was developing negative relationships because of the yabbing. Now, I was just joking, but some people were taking it to heart because I observe and say stuff that people will see. So more like I call their attention to it. I look at you and I say something about your nose, your eyes, your mouth, and people are like, how didn't I notice this all the while? It's true about this guy, and it sticks.
Wow.
Some people, they even had their nicks switched to what I called them, and it didn't go down well with them. So with time, getting into the higher institution, I started getting in trouble bit by bit, you know. Courts to look at you like, you get out, have you? You get out, no worry, no worry. And I said, no, I can't survive. So I started hyping, hailing people. So instead of yabbing, it became hailing. I would just look at it, oh, Baba, and because of you, Central Bank, they print money, you know, those kind of things. So I discovered that the feel-good feeling is what people want.
Yeah.
So I had to study. So I had to really read some books about comedy.
Okay.
And then I saw that comedy will not thrive without an object of ridicule, which is why it's always a kind of give and take, and that's why they have punch line. The line at which you punch your object of ridicule. So when it's a member of the audience, people will laugh, except the person.
The person,
Yeah.
apparently.
Except it's something light, or the person understands your banter, or you have a relationship. You understand? Then I said, okay. So I discovered some people always made themselves the object of ridicule.
Ridicule.
One very famous example right now is Kevin Hart. He will talk about himself, he will talk about his family. So it's difficult for him to offend someone else. Because after he got very famous, that he started picking on guys like Jay-Z, Shaquille O'Neal, you know, Dwayne Johnson and all that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, so how do I make myself the object of ridicule to entertain people? So by the time I was paying that price, the sense to start collecting money for it had come in.
I'd come in. Okay.
All right.
Because naturally, the meaning of my last name is popularity.
Oh, what's
Yeah,
it?
Otite. That's what it means in Yoruba.
Okay.
So I said, and then, you know, there's this cliche and this stereotype that people from Delta State, the official comedians of Nigeria and all that, but we have fantastic Yoruba comedians, we have fantastic Igbo comedians, we have fantastic Hausa comedians. So I said, I don't want to fit in that frame of area. You get one day. And I was born by scholars. So if you cannot defend anything you are doing in life, so I didn't actually have my mom's support.
Okay.
She wanted me to be a scholar.
Okay. Maybe, you know, we'll just take a breather now. Let's watch one or two of your skits. When we come back, we'll, you know, continue this conversation of how you delved into stand-up comedy and what the experience has been. Please, to stay with us.
Ẹ káàsán o, àwa wá rọ́ọ̀bù bí ni o, yes. Hello sir, hello, I am here to rob, ẹ̀rọ tí ẹ bá yín.
Orígbèmí ò dá ẹ lò, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló sà mú tí olóòsà tó ń ṣe yẹn kó kan mí.
Ẹ sà,
Kí ló wá ṣe ná?
mo wá rọ́ọ̀bù lẹ́yìn.
Pẹ̀lú Robinson Crusoe, ó wá rọ̀bì lé. Ṣó lè wọ̀ yìí?
Ẹ ó lè ní mí, mo sì wà rọ́ọ̀bù owó tẹ̀ nínú ilé ní ká ẹ gbé jáde.
Ìbọn ẹ̀dà.
Ṣé ìbọn tí wọ́n pààyàn? Èmi ò níbọn ọ̀bẹ la àfi mọ́ rọ́ọ̀bù kí o.
Iṣẹ́ òun kankan ló ṣe láàárọ̀ ọjọ́, ṣalápàtà ni ẹ láti.
Ṣé torí ọ̀bẹ? Èmi ń ṣalápàtà.
Torí ìdà.
Ṣé rí èmi tẹ̀ ń wò yìí ó lè lébi lèmi sá mọ̀kàn ní kí n ẹ ṣàṣẹ ẹyin lẹ́nu inú ilé yìí owó tẹ́ ẹ bá nínú ẹ gbé jáde ọ̀bẹ tẹ́ ń wò yìí lè pààyàn o.
Ó lè débi tó jẹ́ ìmọ̀ àjẹfún ẹ ládùúgbàsí. Láti òkè ilé ìdílẹ̀. Tó o bá sọ báyìí pó, o lè gbọ́ ṣe ń gbáyìn.
Kò ṣòwò nù lé.
Lókòókò jẹ̀bà tó bá débi ló bá débi.
Ìrẹ́ ni o.
Yé n sọ fún ẹ, what are friends for?
Ẹ̀yin máa náìsí.
Àmọ́ bí tọmọ tiwa náà máa dé.
Inú
Èmi náà wọlé kí n rọ́ọ̀bù ṣe ń gbáyìn mi ò rí. Mo dẹ̀ wọ kíchìn, mo rọ́bẹ̀, tójú ẹ̀ ṣe rẹ́dẹ́rẹ́dẹ́, mo dẹ̀ rí gààrí. Ìṣẹ́jú mélòó lomi fi ń hó, ó ti dọ̀bẹ̀.
Ǹtẹ́ ń sọ lọ́rọ̀ kan ni pé o lè lẹ́yìn náà.
Èmi ò ń jolè. Àwa máa ń achieve nǹkan ni, ó yẹ.
Ìbólẹ̀ tó ń sọ. Àwọn aráàlú ilé ìmọ̀ bẹ̀ ṣé o.
Èmi ló yẹ kí n fẹ́ woman, ó ń ṣe yàtì.
Sẹ́yìn lẹ́nìbọn. Grade 1 lẹ́yìn o.
Wẹ́pọ̀n tèmi, mo jẹ́ ẹ bí ẹ pé unit wo ni wọ́n wà torí mi ò rí ẹ rí mítìn o.
Sáwọn ilé tó máa ń ṣe mítìn ní.
Màá bọ̀rọ̀. Tó náà ló yẹ bá mi bí torí normally kò sí kankan ní unit wa, wọ́n mọ̀ pé mi mò ń ṣiṣẹ́ ń bí lé ní gbogbo eré àyè.
Wonderful. Èmi ọmọ pé báà ni wọ́n ṣe máa ń jalè. Àjẹpọ̀ ìlàdí kàdù báwọn.
Kí ló fi ń ṣeré bí ọmọ ìjòyè? Ó dà yín pé diploma ni wọ́n ní ìdíṣẹ́ yìí, àwa ti ń bá lọ bí PhD.
Èmi ọmọ.
Báwo rí? Wàá jọ ìwà properly ṣó lọ́kàn. Lójú ọ̀fun ẹ̀.
Ntọ́kàn ṣẹlẹ̀ náà ni pé.
Ẹnájì tí mo fi wọlé ni mo ní kí n sáré replenish.
Ǹṣẹ́ àwọn pé ntọ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ náà ni pé o lè wà dà. Wàláì. Ọyọ kéèyàn máa ní lọ́kàn kò wọ́n pààyàn lọ́jọ́ kan náà ni.
Ṣé ò ya wèrè? Ọ̀sùn mi ò dáa, àbí wèrè lélẹ́yìn.
Ẹ̀mọ́ bínú oyin sọ pé ohun tí mò ń gbìyànjú àti sọ ni pé ọjọ́ kan tó lè, ọjọ́ kan tó lóhun. Ẹ̀mọ́ bínú ọ̀dà ọlọ́ọ̀bù jẹ́ fiṣẹ́ lọ́mọlọ́ ọlọ́ọ̀bà iṣẹ́ tó dáa ni. Mo ti yọ ẹjẹ́ máa ń.
Na ọwọ́ ẹ̀ síwájú.
Láìrẹ́ mẹ́sì bẹ́ẹ̀ jẹ́ ọbẹ̀ tẹ̀ ń wo ọbẹ̀ ìyá kàrí mọ́ ni mo yá wá pé kí nǹkan wà sáré fi jáde.
O jí ọ̀bẹ wá jalè.
Mi ò jí
Ó bá ẹ gan o, aláyé gbà.
mo yá
Ó bá ẹ gan o.
ẹ̀mọ́ wọ iṣẹ́ tó dáa lẹ̀ ń ṣe iṣẹ́ gbọ́ ọlọ́ọ̀jẹ̀ fi lọ́mọlọ́ o.
That was quite entertaining there from Dr. Freak talking about that skit with Baba Alaria. It must be said that skit making, yes, is the in thing, but our comedians and skit makers are definitely making Nigerians laugh and forget their sorrows for at least for a few minutes, you know, it must be said, considering the challenges bedeviling the nation at this point in time. We still have Frederick Otete, known as Dr. Freak, with us here in the studio. And just before the break, you were talking about, you know, how you delved into stand-up comedy. The question will be, did anyone bring you on board? You know, there's usually that talk of, oh, okay, this is my mentor, he brought me on board. And how did you start the comedy itself professionally?
Well, so I had a lot of role models.
Okay.
Because, proximity was a challenge. I wasn't really close to anyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say this is my mentor, even though I have a lot of senior colleagues that I adore and I appreciate.
Okay.
I love their art, I love their heart, I love their business disposition to this, you know, job and a lot of them. But then I didn't actually have a mentor, not because I didn't want to have it, because it was kind of difficult then. You know how upcoming used to see some people like our bossy, superior, supernatural being, you are not even accessible and all that. But having information run down to us from people like RMD, Alibaba, you know, Basoj, Oke Bakasi, Nkemo, Sam Loco, all these comedians, Babasue, Babasala, all these guys had a way of inspiring and modeling me, you know, and I use have because their content still inspires me. So it's not like because we have a new generation, they are no longer relevant. They are ever relevant to me. You know, Tony Woods, Ari Spears, Russell Peters, specifically in the international scene, was one of the first videos I saw on YouTube. His first stand-up special, and that hit 1 million views real quick. And I was like, I'll get here someday. I'll have a special. And to the glory of God, I've had about 3 specials.
Oh, that's right.
So I really don't know how to do concert, like bring 10 music artists, 15 dancers, and then 4 comedians. I just like to do comedy, just let it be about the laughter.
Trevor Noah kind of thing.
Kevin Hart, Trevor Noah, Chris Rock,
Okay.
Eddie Griffin, all these.
Yeah.
So the thing is, most of these guys do specials because they are their brands.
Okay.
And you see that the really strong comedy brands in Nigeria also have that. Basketball, Bovie, Gordon's, SLK, you know, all these guys. Some people, yeah, I know how Nigerians think. The all-inclusive, barakbo thing, open your platform to people and all that. But hey, so I do that on another level. I would have an event that I would just host and have others take the floor. But when it's my special, that is me dishing out what I have worked on in research, in observation over time.
All right. Now let's look at the quick transition, or will I say the quick transition, the process of comedy, or the transition of comedy over the years. We have, before now, we used to just have stand-up comedy. I can't really place my hands on the particular one, but they say Alibaba is the father of stand-up comedy in Nigeria, according to report and research. And now we have a lot of people do stand-up, we have people do skit making, and it now seems like skit making is now the easy peasy thing for a lot of comedians who just want to do skit, and then it's people just watch it whether it's funny or not now, but whether it's long or short. So how has the transition been from comedy? And after skit making, do you think there will be something else that would come up that would catch the attention of people and probably fade out stand-up?
Okay, first of all, nothing can fade out stand-up. Stand-up is as old as the gladiators. That was when they used to call comedians to come speak the truth to the kings. Then, you know, that was it. Speak the truth with humor, so that so a comedian is the one who can pass a message across to the king without being harsh.
Comedy of manners.
Yeah, but so if stand-up is that ancient, nothing can face stand-up out. I'm not saying that because I'm a stand-up person.
Okay.
Alibaba has been relevant for over 30 years.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. And yes, the new thing, the new oil is content creation. Generically, then skit making. Skit making, because I'm not saying there are no skit makers in other spheres of the world, but we all know that Nigeria has problems. And we need antidotes. We need first aid kits. And skit making had to be, because one thing about stand-up, I think one defect of stand-up is you may get lost if you are not in the audience when it's happening. Some jokes are just best fresh, you know, freshly consumed. Some jokes, if later related to you, will not really make sense because you were not there to correspond the factors that gave birth to it. But then skit making, you think of an idea, sit down, script it out, get your guys together, record it. This part is not flying, let's re-record. This part is good, okay, now let's edit and all that, then throw it out there. It's an internet age. So the world is in the palm of our hands. Skits just fit in to, I mean, that's the format that is easiest to put in the palm of our hands and relate with. So skits are just short movies. Back then, there was a video sharing platform that was just 15 seconds. Now it's as long as you want. It moved to 31 minutes. Now, if you have 30 minutes, you can put it on. You know. So, but one thing I've discovered is data is life now. After oxygen, people crave data so much. And skits are the content they consume it on. So the transition followed the trend of technology, moving people from the big plasma TVs and all that to phone screens.
Okay.
So now everybody can just, you're bored, you're waiting for an interview, you are waiting for your flight, just pam, pam, pam. And people have made an amazing source of livelihood out of it. It's become an industry, actually.
Oh, I just wanted to talk about quickly something. Sorry.
Okay, no, it's fine.
About just before I forget,
Okay.
I don't know if I should call it comedy plagiarism or jokes plagiarism. I know a lot of comedians, now your reaction has said it, a lot of
You want to
comedians.
shake tables.
Yeah, of course. That's one of our duties as media personalities, as a matter of fact. So a lot of comedians have had rifts. Now my joke be this, now my joke be that. No, be my joke. As a matter of fact, the life, what's it called? The life story you just told us.
Yes.
It sounded like a joke, and I could take it and go crack. I don't know if I've heard something like that before, but then that's why I kept asking: is it your story or it's a joke? Because it felt like a joke, but then it's your story. And how does it feel, and what can be done to? Well, we can't even control people, what people do with their time, or what they decide to do with what we tell them. But let me just get your thought as a comedian.
All right, first of all, plagiarism is real. All right, and is rampant in Nigeria as well as other places. So if I may mention names, Russell Peters had a bit of rift with Trevor Noah about a particular joke. And yes, so I heard it first from Russell Peters because I followed both of them, followed them religiously. And I heard it first way back from Russell Peters, you know. And then, so Trevor Noah didn't actually say it the same way. I think it was just the idea. So as a comedian, I can also argue for Trevor Noah that thoughts are random and can be generally assessed by anyone. If God drops it in your heart first, and you're the first to say it, it becomes yours. If you delay a second, somebody says it before you, it becomes his content.
But just to chip in quickly, that same idea, if refined, does that still make it plagiarism? The reason I'm asking is, the beauty about creativity is oftentimes they say there's nothing new under the sun. That all ideas have been explored. It's just, the mode at which it is being deployed, or the platform that makes it new. So in the process of this business, you're in the stand-up comedy business, for example, you pick up an idea that someone has used before, but you rework it, you refine it, probably change the tweaks, locations, what have you, just refine it to make it yours. Is that still plagiarism? Because some people will tell you that's not. I want to get your opinion.
So for me, as long as you put one, work or effort, two, your own touch of uniqueness into what you're doing. So every music track you hear has the tonics of Ado, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, and then the minors. You are not going to create another sound apart from that.
Outside of that.
But because some people, king of new sound, king of new wave. So these things are just parameters. They are just resources. How you now blend them together. They say na grace differentiate rice, jollof rice from concoction. Not the only ingredient. So the grace you carry, if I crack a joke to just two of you now, and you pick it up and crack it to 1,000, you own it. Because 1,000 people will be mentioning your name. So you see another side to it. That's why sometimes some thoughtful senior colleagues say, no waste that joke, no waste time here, no talk am. Wait till you get bigger platform. Now nice joke. But some will say, oh, foolish boy, thank you. They will hold it and go and use it. So plagiarism is, so a lot of people do copy paste. The way they heard the joke, that's the way they will crack it. If you're not careful, they will even add your name. They will crack my joke and then say, thanks guys, my name is Dr. Freak.
So like copying your answer and your math number.
Do you understand?
Together.
It's that crazy. But if you put in a bit of work, like so, there were, I don't want to mention names because it's a senior man.
That's fine.
So because I research a lot, I discovered that at a point, know that he's a very creative person. Some colleagues watching this will already know what I'm talking about. He's one of the most creative comedians in Nigeria. But I discovered that for about 5-6 years, he leveraged on foreign materials, adapting them to the Nigerian setting, replacing global parameters with our own local ones. And it was really crazy. And anybody will bet it was the original idea until I discovered, wait a minute, this is this same joke. This is this same joke.
Match.
This is this. Do you understand? But I give it to him because he put in work. Imagine he was cracking it the way he heard it. It would have been out of context.
All right, Dr. Freak, if we go on and on,
Yeah, you know, we need to take him on, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm
he
saying.
needs to crack
Of course,
us
he
up.
did not really crack. He had already cracked us up, but
Okay.
he just needs to make us laughing more
Uh-huh.
for some. Because if we go on and on, Dr. Freak can, I must say he's a sound person, so he can keep talking. and
This is
talking
the
and
only
talking.
time we can leverage on the fact
Before,
that he's
because
here.
we'll have to pay later.
Because we'd have paid millions or thousands of naira for
bought
tickets,
VIP
you know.
or table for
So
it, you know.
this is the stage, or that's the stage, and you know.
Please don't waste
You
your
have the
joke
mic.
here. Well, you're on air, so but I could decide to be a stand-up comedian
So
later.
the title of this joke will be free to air.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Free to air, yeah.
So if you like, go and use it.
Oh, yeah, crack,
If you
crack,
use
let me
it, and
laugh.
they will- some people will say, "Now, Dr. Free, get down."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't even know where to start with both of you.
No. I didn't say you should
Okay.
roast. I said you should crack.
So, okay, look at your conscience judging you. I'm not even roasting yet.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry.
And so with this 2 point of mine, I think I can take my leave. You're already There's no need to hustle. Nigerians like struggle. Nigerians like to prove point,
Okay.
even where there's no point. But then talking about points, I've said this before and I'll say it again, that we are in a country where the insecurity is so crazy that even road safety, they are running for safety.
And that's true. That's true.
And we are at a level that, God forbid, but if kidnappers kidnap you, they will drive you past a police checkpoint and the police will not check. What's the point? It's for the intelligence.
Wisdom, don't
Just
leave me.
things down. So you don't
I'll
take
take your
Don't
answer.
leave me, you know.
So I will leave you. I'm not a member of
Dr. Free.
Just before you go, for aspiring, you know, comedians, you know, as much as you think the industry is saturated with so many talents, there's still emerging ones.
Yeah.
You know, so you've done, you know, you're into stand-up comedy and events hosting as a major, but you also do skits on the side and all. So as someone who has tentacles spread across the major, you know, forms of comedy in the nation, what would be your pieces of advice to those who are aspiring to be like you?
So I say, be bold,
Okay.
take on your dream headlong, but be convinced first. Don't start if you are not sure.
Okay.
Not sure about your materials, but sure about this path, because it's very, very, very rough. Trust me. Don't let the money in Basket Mouth's account encourage you. Let his success story, his process, encourage you that if he did it, you can do it. But don't let the reward be the motivation. Convert every reward to result.
Okay.
Yeah. And be original. We are at a generation that if you are not original, if you don't have your own, you know the way people are beating people, they wait for you backstage and beat you for cracking their joke. So be original. Be you. Believe in God. Honor men. Because the word of men. Don't say, God, give me talent. Honor men. You will pass through men. Stay humble no matter the level of success you achieve. And I think with that, you make the best of your talent, your purpose. You fulfill God's mandate on your life, and you also entertain men.
That's a comedian and a pastor speaking.
I like the fact that there is a God factor in there. So if you were not a comedian, what other career would you have?
A pastor.
If I was not a comedian, I would have still been a comedian, because I would have started comedy if I didn't meet it. That's
But you sound like a pastor. You probably want to preach to us.
I'm not a pastor, actually. Just that I can't even say I love Jesus that much, because the way Jesus loves me, it makes my own love for him look like embarrassment. You understand?
Yeah.
I've just come to recognize that my life is nothing without the grace of God.
Yeah,
That's just
actually,
it. That's not like I'm
actually.
a pastor.
That's
Actually.
great.
Without God's grace, I'm equal to or less than zero.
Oh, I like that. Thank you so much, Dr. Freak,
Thank you very
for
much.
being here. And it's been an amazing show, by the way. We had from the conversation with IbrandTV and Choma Maregulam. First, the paper review segment, the conversation, and now Dr. Freak. It's been an amazing show, I must say. And it's a good way to wrap up the show today, ushering us into a weekend. But there is an important thing I would like to do now. Today happens to be the birthday of an important person to me, Neka Opara, my amazing elder sister. A very happy birthday to you. We love you. I love you. And thank you so much for being an amazing person. This is for me, and I'm sure all of us on iBrandTV, I can see.
Can I wish happy birthday?
Yeah.
Well, she's so beautiful. Madam, you know what you do for me? Send me your account number.
I like that.
I will delete it.
Thank you so much, so, Samson.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, happy birthday to her. We wish her more life, more colors, more feats, more wins, more money.
Interesting.
That's interesting. And more importantly, I'm expecting the rice.
Oh, well, she would do that. It's not my birthday. My birthday
She's not
just
here.
passed.
Yeah, here. Come on.
All right, then we just wrap up with the quote of the day, and this quote is from Maria Folio, and it says, "Not having the best situation, but seeing the best in your situation is the key to happiness." Not having the best situation, but seeing the best in your situation is the key to happiness. So no matter what happens, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. The thing is, are you seeing the light? Well, that's it on the show today. It's been an amazing Friday. Thank you so much to the production crew for making this a success from Monday to date, and to you, our esteemed viewer. Without you, there is no iBrand Day Big.